it is not that sexual joy needs to be eliminated completely, just as it is not that enjoyment of food needs to be eliminated. We only need to eat, I don't know, dust and sand just to feel holy. And we need to not to avoid wearing reasonable clothes, or that we need to avoid going on vacation. So there is, in this regard, there is no difference between the many other pleasures of life and this one. Still, we put a lot on sexual pleasure. We put a lot on what is called sexual joy. And that is why it is so entangled. That is why it is such a delicate process, because in the pursuit of sexual joy, there is the pursuit of God unknowingly. It is important to understand that in the moment of orgasm, we get to experience a glimpse into self-dissolution, a glimpse into nothingness. All of a sudden, we are thrown into space, and for a moment, we don't have self-consciousness, and that is something so intoxicating. And then immediately after, we think, I have to feel it again. I have to feel it again. Now, if it was just sexual joy, then we would be right to ask, well, after 100, 200, 300, 400 sexual joys, how many times do we still need to repeat something to exhaust it, right? At a certain point, I understand the mechanism. And that is not something that is so astonishing necessarily if observed or if isolated from the other ingredient. In itself, sexual joy is not necessarily so impressive. The thing is that is what we find in the experience of orgasm and the build-up toward orgasm. And it is because orgasm is our material human way to get in touch with nothingness, with self-dissolution. And that is what we're looking for. So this is what we hope for. Now, when self-dissolution really takes place, not for a glimpse, not for a frustrating moment, then replaced with something else, with, well, yet another pursuit of pleasure, because the need for orgasm is satisfied, and then quickly after it is resumed, right? Again, I need an orgasm. But if I finally find the fulfillment in self-dissolution and in being absorbed, my longing is satiated. And at that moment, I no longer require sexual joy. Sexual joy becomes then sexual joy. That is all. Nothing more, nothing less. It is a simple thing, a joy among many other joys. But it is not what we have turned it into. I once attended a lecture by a kind of spiritual teacher, and he said, for me, I came to discover that sex is God. And I thought to myself, well, no, sex is not God. Unless you mean that everything is God, then perfect. But no, sex is not God. And whenever we say sex is God, we end up as teachers hunting for many sexual experiences with students. That is always the case. So this is what you're looking for. And when you define clearly what you're looking for, then you need to ask yourself, am I getting it? Is it fulfilled? Is what I'm hoping to find through sexual joy can really be relieved, answered? This is when the intelligence of our heart redirects our pursuit. It may not be an easy journey because sexual desire, due to this kind of projection, this kind of huge unrealistic expectation, it is not easy to overcome it, and it is possible to overcome it only as we are experiencing a greater kind of orgasm, one that is lasting, one that is subtle, and one that is generating energy rather than dissipating it, especially in the case of the male body.